That's what you do. Your doctors, which are brilliant doctors, are getting the body back to homeostasis. If we don't do that, we don't have a foundation to build upon.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with the Chiro. We're here today with Caroline, and we have a special guest today,
Yes.
Dr. Pete Sullack. He's a personal close friend of mine. Also, he is the founder of Redeem Essentials. Excuse me. How am I doing so far, Caroline? Redeem Essentials, and as well as the founder of Matthew 10 International Ministries. So it is an honor to have you today. Some people call him Dr. Pete, some call him Pastor Pete, but he is with us today. And Dr. Pete, we're so excited to have you with us on Coffee with the Chiro. Caroline?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Dr. Pete. Why don't you just first off give our listeners just a little bit of background of maybe how you and Dr. Michael met, and then how you started your chiropractic journey.
Hey, first of all, I want to say, Doc, that was an incredible intro. You forgot the names and everything else. So, kudos to you. But Heskett and I kind of got started like we did on this podcast interview. I went to Toronto to see if my wife and I could do an internship with one of the largest clinics in the world. And I just fell in love with how Dr. Heskett entertained, his love for Jesus. And we ended up in Morristown, Tennessee. My wife and I, my two small boys at the time, 1 and 3, they're now 25 and 23. He was so gracious to put us above a veterinary clinic, 400 square feet, right next to a train track and barking dogs all night. But nevertheless, the rest is history. He's one of my favorite people. And truly, Doc, you are one of my favorite people in the world. And like we've always said, in heaven one day, I want to be right next to you, because I have a feeling we will laugh and laugh and laugh with Jesus.
So awesome. Well, Dr. Pete, when he came and did his internship there with us in Morristown, one of the things that I was surprised by was normally when you have an intern, they come in and you kind of show them the ropes. And at the time, our clinic was what I would say is pretty successful for that time. But in a period of 6 months, 6 months, Dr. Pete going out into the community, our practice doubled in that 6 month period of time. And I just knew that Dr. Pete, that God placed something in special to be able to educate people on chiropractic and the benefits of chiropractic and how chiropractic can change and save lives. And just recently, we had the blessing of having him in 2 of our clinics. We had him come to the Morristown Clinic as well as the Straw Plains Clinic to go over his products, Redeem Essentials. And I know that he has a heart for the gospel. And what's really, really cool about Redeem Essentials, I'll let him share about the Fab Five, what I call it, the Fab Five things that they have at Redeem. But what's super cool about it is not only I just had a patient tell me yesterday that they were unable to get a total night's rest for over 8 years. And since Dr. Pete came to the office, and they've been taking the Stress Max, the Digest Max, and different things, that she's got total, every night she's sleeping throughout the night. And for some people may not understand, that's just a miracle. And it's a blessing when you can't rest, and you are able to get to have something to assist you in doing that. And so that's just one of the testimonies. We have so many other testimonies about the Redeem Essentials, but I'd like Dr. Pete just to share a little bit about Redeem Essentials, how it was born, and kind of some of the things that our patients, because primarily we have patients listening to this, just share with them, how Redeem Essentials came about, how it's been a blessing to your patients and to your family.
It is. Redeem Essentials is something I've been focused on and passionate about for many, many years in providing a supplement line. There's so many things that we just do not get in our standard American diet. And when you talk about resilience and health and truly how a person gets healthy, health is all about resilience. It's our body's ability to deal with life and then recover effectively from it. And there's just so many misconceptions about health One is, if you feel good, you're healthy. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Yet people feel good and die of heart attacks, feel good and have cancer. Then there's a mentality that germs make you sick. But if that was the case, we'd all be dead. The truth of the matter is, germs make a weak host sick, a body that's no longer resilient. Health is all about resilience. It's not just about avoiding bad things. It's about being resilient in the face of those bad things, because life happens, stress happens. And if we just think that when circumstances arise that let's just go quarantine and live in a bubble, that's just not, this is not possible. But we were all called, we were fearfully, wonderfully made. We were all called to truly live our best life, to run and not grow weary, walk and not faint. But it's all about resilience. And simply, it's about a 3-step prong. Get the body out of a stress response, restore homeostasis. We do that with the chiropractic adjustments. Every time they walk into one of your offices, that's what you do. Your doctors, which are brilliant doctors, are getting the body back to homeostasis. If we don't do that, we don't have a foundation to build upon. Secondly, every time the body gets stuck in a stress response, it creates vulnerabilities. 5 main vulnerabilities when the body gets stuck. And if we don't support those effectively, those 5 vulnerabilities will lead to affecting every one of the 11 or 12 systems of the body, which leads to all the diseases that we face on a regular basis. Okay, so first things first, get adjusted, get the body out of a stress response, restore homeostasis. Secondly, there's 5 basic vulnerabilities. Your digestive system's a vulnerability, your immune system's a vulnerability, toxicity, your sleep, and the body's chemical stress response. So if we can support those 5 vulnerabilities, then all of a sudden we get the body on the road to health. Our third prong is just retrain lifestyle. Retraining lifestyle is a process. It takes time and repetition, but we can all get on the road to health. We can all become resilient. And I promise you this, if you walk into Heskett Family Chiropractic and you lie on that table, they're going to lay a foundation for your body to begin to heal effectively and get you moving in the right direction. Then if you can support those 5 main vulnerabilities and then over time retrain your lifestyle through education and doctor's talks, now all of a sudden you have literally the secret sauce to transform your health. And that's why we created the Essentials Kit to support the 5 main vulnerabilities of stress.
Yeah, can you go into detail, Dr. Pete, just for a couple minutes of those 5 products?
Yes.
With the people?
So the first one is what we call Stress Max. So the chemical stress pathway is what's called the HPA axis. And that pathway actually is what creates the stress hormone cortisol. Now, psychology today says cortisol is public enemy number 1. If you want to get fat, old, tired, and sick, then let cortisol go crazy. But we need cortisol. I need it to wake up in the morning. I need it as a protective mechanism, and I need it for energy. But what I don't want is that chemical stress pathway to get stuck. If it does, National Institutes of Health will actually prove through the research that the top 100 diseases on the planet have one commonality. The body got stuck chemically in a stress response. What Stress Max does, they're adaptogenic herbs, and they help get the chemical stress pathway back to homeostasis and rest. They act like a thermostat. So different than any supplement or medication on the market that goes in one direction or another, adaptogens do both. They bring you up to homeostasis or they'll bring you down. It's something we put every one of our patients on to reinforce homeostasis to create resilience. So Stress Max supports the first vulnerability of the chemical stress response. Number 2, muscle and tissue. Muscle and tissue support cellular toxicity and cellular waste. When the body gets stuck in a stress response, vulnerability number 2 is it creates toxicity and inflammation in the body. So muscle and tissue is a blend of what's called proteolytic enzymes. And what proteolytic enzymes do, they actually draw out cellular waste, scar tissue, and fibrin from the body. We just had a lady the other day. She was on a walker for a year. And in 2 weeks from taking this Essentials Kit, she was actually off of her walker. I have another gentleman who had a frozen shoulder. And in 3 weeks, he could actually move his shoulder. And he has had a frozen shoulder for years and years and years. Number 3, the third vulnerability is the body's immune system. Our immune system is our body's military defense system. Okay, it's what protects the body from invasion. And when the body gets stuck in a stress response, it downregulates the immune system. So we create a product called Immune Defense. Everything they talk about, even the medical doctors talk about when it came to fighting COVID, okay? Vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, elderberry, echinacea, quercetin, powerful antioxidants. We put in immune defense to actually boost the body's immune system, which is actually acts as a barrier for germs and sicknesses and disease. Number four, the fourth vulnerability is your digestive system. Under stress, your digestive system downregulates. Why is that? Because, for instance, if you're running away from a tiger, your body goes into a fight or flight response. Survival mechanisms increase, non-survival mechanisms downregulate. I don't need to digest food if I'm running away from a tiger, okay? Well, under stress, your digestive system downregulates. So we created a product called Digest Max. Digest Max is a blend of herbs, pre, post, and probiotics that all work synergistically together to support the digestive system. Research says your gut's like your second brain, okay? If your gut is weak, if it's vulnerable, it affects everything else. In fact, Alzheimer's, dementia, autoimmune issues, you name it, comes from a leaky gut. Digest Max begins to support and repair that gut. And number five, the fifth vulnerability is when the body gets stuck in a stress response, it affects circadian rhythm. It affects serotonin, dopamine levels, and it actually prevents the body from not only getting to the first level of REM sleep, the second level of REM sleep. In fact, there's research that says anyone on an antidepressant, the antidepressants inhibit their body getting to the first level of REM sleep, where the body organizes memories and emotions. And if you can't do that, your body spins on itself. Well, we created a product called Sleep Max. It's a blend of herbs and everything to help not only the body get into the first level of REM sleep, it helps the body get into the second level of REM sleep. And that's where the body begins to restore and truly heal itself. 5 essentials supporting the 5 main vulnerabilities of stress. Health doesn't have to be difficult. It's all about resilience. Restore homeostasis, get adjusted, replenish those 5 vulnerabilities, and over time, let's begin to retrain lifestyle, and you can truly live the best life ever.
That's huge. I mean, and also, Dr. Pete, if you'll touch on as well, because my kids for the past 3 months have been taking the entire kids line of Redeem Essentials, and it's made such a difference, especially in mine that are picky eaters. And so if you want to touch for a minute on why we also have the Redeem Essentials kids line and why that's so important.
Absolutely. So, when it comes to kids, we tend to overlook our children. We give them everything they want and we said, oh, they're resilient and whatever. But the problem is disease starts really at adolescence. And so if we can begin to support the body, so we have a set of 4 gummies. Number 1, stress gummies. It's an ashwagandha. It's one of the main adaptogenic herbs to help the body get out of a stress response. Hey, your kids are active. We want them to adapt to life, but we need them to properly recover. So stress gummies help support that chemical stress response. Number 2, we have our kids multi-gummies. And the kids multi-gummies are just basic nutrients to help support the body. So when they're going to school, every disease is based on nutrient deficiencies. So we're teaching our kids healthy habits, and not only that, giving them good nutrients, vitamins and minerals and antioxidants to support their overall health and well-being. We also have a kids immune, which is power packed to help boost the immune system, the body's military defense system. And the third thing is we have a kids digestive gummies. And the digestive gummies is really to just support their digestive system. So many issues in kids starts in their gut, which leads to their immune system. But it also it's a result of a body being under too much stress. And so our kids essentials kit is just something that we put all of our patients on as well. Kids love it. In fact, they love the taste. We have parents taking them right now just because it's just a simple way to help incorporate just healthy habits into our kids' lives.
That's awesome. So, Dr. Pete, another question I have that our listeners will be interested in. We talked about at the beginning, our relationship started 20 years ago, and God began to move in your life in a powerful way and gave you a vision. I think it was around the time we were getting up in the morning at 5 a.m. and praying together, and God gave you a vision for 1 billion souls for the kingdom. And then you began to do you began to do mission work all across the country and all across the world. During that period of time, COVID hit and really kind of put a pause button on that, on your mission work overseas. And just, I want you to share with our listeners a little bit about what God showed you during that time, because many times when we have a vision or God's given a vision in our life and something comes against that, it's easy to say, hey, this is not possible. There's no way I can't travel, so I can't get where I need to be. So just share with our listeners just what God has done since COVID and through Matthew 10 Ministries, and how the Lord has moved in that way.
I appreciate it. Matthew 10 is simply something that's dear to my heart. It's been a passion project of mine for many, many years. It started in 2005, and we've been going around the world sharing the good news of Jesus Christ, exposing people's worth and value and significance in the eyes of God. And we've been around the world 25 times over those number of years. But then when COVID hit, everything stopped. And it was the day that the movie theater shut down, all the international travel shut down, even domestic travel shut down. And my wife and 4 boys came together and said, Lord, what are we going to believe for in this season? And the Lord whispered to me and he said, son, ask me for 100,000 souls. And my response was, Lord, no offense, but how is that even possible? And the next day, my crusade director called me from the Middle East and he said, Dr. Pete, obviously you can't come here, but they don't really, we just got out of the chief of police's office and they don't really care what we do with the village people. And so I said, what would that look like? And he said, well, why don't we just bring you on like I am right now, virtually. We'll set everything up in person. We'll have you on screens. We'll actually be there in person and we'll just start doing crusades. And we did that, we had Tuesdays and Fridays available at the time. And I got in front of my computer. We were on screens there. They had worship. And I just shared the good news of Jesus Christ. And by the grace of God, miracles began to pop in the crowd. Someone from there said, hey, I know someone in this village. They've never heard about this Jesus before. Could you come? And I just did my 493rd virtual crusade since COVID. We've seen millions and millions of people come to Christ. We're on 3 huge networks around the world, reaching hundreds of different countries. We're in the national newspaper doing health articles in Zambia. And now we just started setting slaves free from the brick factories in one of the Middle Eastern countries. We set 258 families free this last year, and now my team goes today. They're headed there now to set 76 more, or actually 80 families free. That's about 400 people stuck in slavery. Some of them have been stuck in slavery from a $25 debt from 20 years ago. A family wanted to have a baby. They needed $25 to go to the hospital to have a baby. A brick factory owner lent them the money, and they've never gotten out. That's 20 years ago. People are being raped. They're being tortured. And we just simply go in and we pay off their debt. We actually provide them 6 months of free rent. We throw them a celebration. We give them the food and everything they need. And then we give them a brand new bright red loader cart so they can become transporters. And it's just so cool to see what God's doing right now around the world. Just one of the greatest reflections of just the mercy and the kindness and the goodness of God, where God is for us, not against us. And he came to love and save this world. And so Matthew 10 Ministries is just our nonprofit. The Bible says, as freely as you receive, freely give. And that's simply what we do. Everything we do with our Redeem entities, all of our Redeem entities, from Redeem Essentials to everything else, we give off the top to this work around the world. And that's why, guys, we're so, so grateful for your partnership, for your patients that are partnering with us, because that's what it's for, to fund the humanitarian work we're doing and go expose the world's worth and value.
So good. Yeah. Caroline, did you have something?
Well, I just also wanted to touch in, so today's Tuesday. On Thursday, Dr. Pete, along with Redeem Essentials and Matthew 10, are going to be at our Women's Night Out event. So that way everybody can come meet you in person, get more information on Redeem Essentials, on Matthew 10. And just a reminder to all of our listeners and patients that the ticket proceeds are also going to be going to Matthew 10. which, as you all just heard from Dr. Pete, is such an incredible ministry. And we're just so thankful that we're able to share in blessing those people all across the world with you.
Well, guys, we are so grateful as well. We're going to be there with information. So many people have asked us, how can we become a part of one,
Yes.
getting healthy, as well as what you're doing around the world? And one of the easiest things is to become an ambassador, an affiliate with Redeem Essentials. And we'll have information right there at the event that we can partner together, not only to empower people's lives to get healthy, but it's a double the impact where we can also invest in the kingdom of God. And it's something that we're so thankful that you guys have partnered with us, and we're just getting started.
So good. Well, Dr. Pete, thank you so much for being on the call with us today. And it's such an inspiration. And most of all, I want everyone to know out there that we most of all value our friendship, and just 20 years, how the Lord has watching you grow, as coming from, like we said at the beginning, from internship to straight out of school to 20 years of practice. The Lord is just moving mountains and doing some just unbelievable things. And I know that your favorite line is, "It's not because of you, it's in spite of you." So I'll steal that from you and just say that I know that's the case. And so it's an honor to have you on our podcast, and we're always here for you if there's anything that you need. And I want of our listeners to know too, this is Dr. Pete Sullack, and he's not a stranger to our office. We have him come and visit. He will be there again. I hope we're going to try to get him to the Rogersville location as well as the Danders locations to talk about Redeem Essentials and ways that you can apply that to your life in order to be resilient and stronger. And so, Dr. Pete, it's been an honor to have you with us on Coffee with the Chiro, and we look forward to seeing you Thursday. And if you missed, that event is already gone, just look for our upcoming event. He'll be a sponsor there, I'm sure, in the future, and have them. And last but not least, Dr. Pete has been an integral part of the Chiropractic Revolution, which is an organization we talk about on this podcast quite a bit. I don't believe he's missed one of them. He's been a speaker at almost every Chiropractic Revolution for over 11 years, and just sewn into that. And that has been such a blessing to so many people. And so thank you for that as well. While you're on this podcast, we love you, Dr. Pete. We're so grateful. Thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Love you guys.